you were awarded the OBE for, I think, services to diversity.
And obviously being a CEO to business as well. Yeah,
it is important that other young black men are able to look at and see people that look like them.
I was saying to Ken, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable taking this, and he goes, Gary, the charity you're in, we're talking about creating role models for these young kids. You want them to be leaders of tomorrow, which is what our charity Alito Foundation is. That's going to be something that you can demonstrate what we can achieve. He said you'd be crazy not to take it.
This episode is proudly sponsored by ryvr, the conversational intelligence platform built specifically for recruitment and staffing businesses. Recruitment firms generate huge amounts of valuable information every day through client calls, candidate interviews, vacancy briefings, and business development conversations. The challenge is that most of that information never makes it into systems, processes, or decision making. ryvr captures, transcribes, and analyzes every conversation automatically, transforming unstructured discussions into actionable intelligence for recruiters, managers, and business leaders. Whether that's improving CRM hygiene, generating candidate and client summaries, identifying commercial opportunities, coaching, or uncovering trends across the business, ryvr helps staffing companies get more from every conversation they have. Unlike generic AI note-taking tools, ryvr is built specifically for the recruitment industry, with workflows, automations, and insights designed around the way recruiters actually work. If you'd like to see how leading staffing businesses are using a conversational intelligence to gain a competitive advantage, visit ryvr.ai and book a demo today. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Recruiting Alchemy. This week's guest is Gary Eldon OBE. You're not the first OBE we've had in the studio. Can you believe it?
I'm sure I won't be the last.
No, you definitely won't be the last.
I won't ask who the other one was.
I'll tell you in a minute. Gary Eldon OBE, recruitment industry legend, and I think probably the man who spawned the most recruitment entrepreneurs of anyone else. If I was to add them up, if I look at the offspring of Huxley Associates and some of those businesses you were involved in, it's like the who's who of staffing. I think
you look at the whole of S3, right? You think how many companies have spurned out of S3? It's unbelievable, right?
So thanks for coming on the show.
No worries.
So we always start the show in the same way, which is the two beginnings. The beginning that everyone's most interested in is a bit about you. You've had you're an incredibly interesting backstory that would love to hear about. But for the benefit of those who don't know you, where does the story start?
Good question. Well, it started in Camberwell. I was born in Camberwell. My dad was a taxi driver.
Okay.
Used to teach the knowledge. My mum was a housewife, brought up in a council estate in Camberwell. Had an amazing childhood. Very entrepreneurial type childhood.
Okay. Are we talking rough Camberwell or is it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't live in Camberwell Grove. It was a council estate. You'd have urine in the lifts and gates on the door.
Okay.
There'd be glue sniffers, shootings, stabbings, everything.
Yeah.
National Front.
Oh, right. So this is what, late 70s?
Yeah. I won't say how old I am.
Yeah.
Late 70s.
But what I mean is Britain's probably having a bit of a weird time socially. There's a load of class war and all that stuff. And
Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, exactly. You're growing up in inner London.
Exactly. Police get stopped by the police all the time.
Right. Okay.
Stop and search.
Yeah.
And all that. So it was. Look. But in saying that, I had an amazing childhood. That was my. That's where you learn. If you can learn from the streets and convert that.
Yeah.
Then you're not intimidated by anyone. What I've learned from being in that environment, and it's I've had knives to my throat and chased by guns and. When you're in a work environment, it's very hard to get intimidated by anyone.
Yeah.
If someone says, "Oh, you haven't done this and you haven't done that," some people they panic, and it's like, well, it's not life and death.
Yeah.
So my attitude was always like, in the real world, this is nothing. It's the best job ever, but I was never intimidated. So that gave me that sort of resilience, I think.
Did that make you a difficult employee?
Oh, it was a nightmare.
Just hard work.
Oh, it was hard work. I look back now. Bill used to say,
Was Bill your first boss?
In recruitment, yeah. Bill and Simon, they used to talk about, I didn't have one chip, I had 2 chips on my shoulder. I was actually lucky to get the job, to be honest.
Really?
It's only because of Russell. Russell, we knew similar person and we had stories to talk about.
So let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
So you're growing up in Camberwell from a working class family. You made it through school?
Yeah, I've got to 16. I've got my O levels.
Okay, it's not that bad then. So you make it through school, but no ambition to go on and do nothing like.
My school had one of the highest truancy rate in the whole country.
Really? What was the school?
Archbishop Michael Ramsey.
Right.
Okay, and no one ever spoke to me about university ever. I was in all the top classes.
Right.
Not once did a teacher talk to me about university. I always used to think, oh, it's more studying. It's not going to be fun. If I'd known what university consists of, I'd have thought, yeah, that's brilliant. But no one ever spoke to me about it. So all my dad used to say to me is, go out there, learn a trade, become an electrician or a plumber, and then you can run your own business. And I said, Dad, look at my hands. They're soft hands. I don't even know how to change a light bulb. So to me, I wanted to get a job in banking.
Right.
Let me get a job in banking. And then I remember applying for jobs. And my first job was for an architect as an office junior. And I was on $3,000 a year salary.
What?
3,000 a year. I used to get on the bus.
That's some mad apprenticeship scheme, I guess.
It was a trade. No, it was an office junior. It was, you go up there. I was worked in Camden Town, so I had to get a bus to Elephant and Castle, tube to Camden Town, and I was earning 3,000 a year, and my friends were out making money, earning that in a month. And they're like, "What are you doing, you idiot?" And I'm like, "I need to get on the job ladder."
Yeah.
And that gave me my foundations. From that, I got my second job, where I applied for about 120 different jobs.
Yeah.
And I managed to I got 20 odd interviews. And after 20, I managed to get a job in insurance broking. So that got me that was my university.
Right.
I saw people from different classes, different backgrounds, introduced me to beer and lager. And, it was that was my university for 4 years.
In the city?
In the city.
So you're wearing a suit every day and all
Pinstripe
that?
suit, polka dot tie, double cuffs. I really thought I looked the part.
And do you like, this is a bit of me?
I loved the fact that you're out, you're working, work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
But it wasn't meritocratic.
It wasn't?
It wasn't.
Right.
And that's why I left.
Okay.
Because I was there for 4 years.
Oh, so you did a good stretch then?
Yeah, I did 4 years. And
in one firm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I realised when I remember this guy coming in, and his name was Piers, double barrel surname. And I was told he's going to be your boss. And his dad was friends of the MD. His dad was an underwriter.
Right.
And I was thinking, oh my God, this job, I'm not going to really climb this career ladder unless I know the right people.
Yeah.
And at the time I was looking to buy a property.
Right.
And this guy turns up in a white Golf convertible. And I think it looked like me, sounded like me. I'm like, what do you do? He goes, I'm an estate agent. And that's how I got into sales. So I left broking and got into sales being an estate agent.
Okay. Back in South London?
In Catford.
So you're in the city and then you're out again. Was that a consideration? Like, no. You'd had enough.
Money.
You wanted the money.
I wanted the money. I wanted a nice car.
Yeah.
And
I guess you get a car, don't you?
And I want to earn the commission.
Yeah.
So that's why I got into sales.
And then, but in insurance broking and sales, are they not?
Broking wasn't selling in the same way. No, people they claim it is, but
to be honest, I've never really understood it. All I remember is when I worked in the city for you at Huxley Associates in King William Street, there was a pub round the corner called the Moon Underwater at Leadenhall Market.
Well, they were with their wallets, right?
But they were just drinking from 11 a.m. on a Monday. Like, it was mental, mate. Like big, massive fat guys, mate. Like sculling pints from, and I was like, this is not. I mean, what do they do all day? But they, clearly it was a different world back then. But
they slowed down now. They put restrictions in now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, my bosses used to take me out lunchtime after work.
Yeah.
It was. I reckon I put on a stone and a half.
Yeah.
When I was.
Well, it was
easy.
I mean, it was like 4 pints at lunch was just standard.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So you get a job down in Catford as an estate agent.
Yeah.
You're driving around a nice car.
It was a Rover. It wasn't quite a Golf, but yeah, it was a Rover.
It's a start.
It's a start. Yeah.
And what did that grip you?
It did. I was there for
2
years. I became a manager after a year. after 18 months, I was looking after more than one office. I was the youngest manager, successful, earning good money. And I went to a wedding and I saw these guys in BMWs, Mercedes, convertibles. I was thinking, what do you guys do? IT recruitment. What's IT? What's IT recruitment? Do you need to know about IT? I said, what is IT? Didn't know what IT was.
Yeah.
They go, no, we're salespeople. And I'm like, I need to know more.
Right.
And then my PA in my estate agent, her boyfriend was working in recruitment.
Right.
And I just felt, right, I want to know about this recruitment. And then just rang around, got an interview at Computer Futures. 7, 8 interviews, maybe 9.
Stages. Wow, Jesus.
And I had to keep ringing up any news. And they were like, So I was earning 35 grand a year as an estate agent.
A lot of money back then.
I had to take a 8 grand basic salary, no guarantee, no car. Take it or leave it. Trainee recruitment, and be a trainee.
But what you?
I went in that environment, and the people that interviewed me, I went. It's like going from, I suppose, Championship to Premier League.
Really?
I felt, when you go in, you're going, these guys are good.
Yeah.
Like they're driven, they're hungry. I'm like, this is where I want to be. Yeah. Estate agents, I thought it wasn't the same level.
Yeah, I remember we had Dave Reese on the show a couple of months ago, and he was saying that he met Sonal and I think Steve Quinn at a conference, and he said they were just sharply dressed, and he says and then he went for his interview, and it just felt like I need to work here, and because the quality of the people was just on a different level.
It was a different level.
This would have been
1990.
1990. Where were you? Where was it based?
We were based in Conduit Street.
Which is in
off
Regent Street, Oxford Circus.
Yeah.
So you're 5 days in the office back then, of course, for 12 hours a day, I imagine.
No, I used to go in 6 days.
Really?
I used to come in on a Saturday and write, because back then we never had emails.
Yeah.
It was first come, first serve when you give the CVs to the secretaries.
Right.
So I'd come in, write the CV cover front sheets up and pile them all up.
Right.
Qualify the candidates.
Yeah.
So in the morning when they come in, my CVs are the first ones to get done.
At. Wow.
So I used to come in. I used to look at this and go, this is an unbelievable opportunity. Why are you only working 5 days a week when you can work 6? And it's unlimited commission. So I thought, Jesus, I know I'm not as good as these people.
Yeah.
So the only way I'm going to close the gap, I have to work harder than them.
Yeah.
And then if I work harder than them, eventually I'll learn more. And then I'll be just as good as them. But I realized the standard was Sonal was the top man every time. And then there was Daly, big personality.
Yeah.
And I used to go up to them and say, what do you do? How do you do that? And I just learned from those people.
Yeah.
You surround yourself with people and go, I want to learn from you guys. And they were amazing. They were so inspiring at the time.
Yeah. And what's your earliest memory of making real money?
I remember Bill used to go around with a check, and he gave me a check for 20 grand once for a month.
What?
And I was like, when you remember Jerry Beadle, when you think, is this a joke?
Yeah.
Someone going to pop out and go,
yeah.
Or you're arrested. This is not legal.
Yeah.
And I saw that check and I was thinking, this is wrong. My mum doesn't earn that in a year. She works in a school. She's earning, 12 grand a year.
Yeah.
I got that in a month. I was like, I love this.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? That first taste, it's once you've tasted it, you can't go back.
It's hard, yeah.
So this begins a spectacular 20-something year career at one of the most iconic staffing businesses in the world, S3. You're just a recruitment consultant at this point.
Trainee.
Were you like that example you've given me there? I'm sure there's more, but at what point were you like, I'm all in on this?
For the first 3 months, I remember a guy called Richard Houtman used to take me out for lunch and put his arm around me. I said, I'm going to get back into a estate agency. Because it just didn't click for me straight away. Yeah. I was impatient and didn't know what I was talking about. And they had a Wang system that I couldn't use because I didn't know how to use it. So they used to give me a box instead because I couldn't use the Wang.
What's a Wang system?
Before a PC, mate. Mate, you've never heard of Wang?
No, I've not. Yeah. I've not. I've heard of most things. I've never heard of Wang.
Wang, yeah.
Oh, okay, wow. So this is what an early computer, basically.
And it was, so I just couldn't get my head around it. So I used to have a system, and then we used to do faxing and sending our posts. We used to have bags of posts. Postmen used to come, there'd be like 3 postmen to carry all our posts, because there's no emails. So you have to get all your CVs out the door.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a success in my second. It took me a year, I reckon, before the penny dropped and went, I get it now.
Right.
It took me a year.
Yeah.
So in that first year, I was learning the ropes. In the second year, I went,
got it.
I've got it now.
Yeah.
I understand as much as everyone else.
Yeah.
And I do more than them.
Yeah.
And I know what markets I'm in.
Yeah.
And basically, that's when it. But in saying that, I was such an idiot. While trying to run a recruitment business, I set up a Caribbean takeaway as well on the side. So I was top biller.
Yeah. I've never heard this story.
Yeah, I was a top biller at Futures, and then I was thinking, right, I always had this desire to have like the Nando's of the Caribbean.
Right.
I wanted to do so there's a Morley's. There used to be a Morley's on Lee High Road.
Yeah.
And it was up for sale. So I got the lease for it and turned it into a Caribbean takeaway.
Okay.
LBW.
Right.
And then I used to leave work at 6, go and work at the takeaway until midnight. Used to drop the chef home. Used to get stopped by the police at least once or twice a week.
Right.
And then come home and then come back to work. So I was working day in the recruitment and then evening. And Bill and Simon didn't know.
I was going to say, they didn't know this.
No. And then Simon's now wife, Romulo, who is Sonil's sister, I was talking to her about, I'm doing this on the side. She told Simon. Bill pulled me in and said, you got something to tell us? We wonder why your performance has dropped off. I was like, no, I've got nothing to say. It's like, want to tell us about your takeaway? And
your jerk chicken franchise.
Mate. And it was horrible, because they're dealing with the general public, and when it comes to food, what island's the chef from, and but the chef's not turning up on time and being late, and the food. I'm thinking, what am I doing? I'm in one of the fastest growing industries in the world in IT, and I'm worrying about a takeaway. And I just closed it after a year and went, right, I'm all in. And that's when I went all in.
Yeah. Was it one of those things that you start and you're like, shit, I've made a cock up here. Yeah. I did not know. That's amazing.
There
what a
you
story.
go.
Yeah. So LBW jerk chicken isn't the future, but IT recruitment is, but not necessarily with Computer Futures, right? No. So one of the structures of the show is we talk about the 2 beginnings. Normally it's how you got in, how it started, and where it at the point you make the leap to your own business. You launched Huxley Associates in 1995.
Correct.
Tell us about that.
So the good thing about S3, it's a very entrepreneurial environment. So Bill worked out very early on, I think, that the barriers to entry in recruitment is particularly low. Anyone who's half good, most probably will go and set up on their own. And Sonil had proven what you could achieve, and he had started Progressive in 1990. Yeah. And that was succeeding. And I was thinking, if he can get that, I want that.
So you were already at CF when
he left.
He left not long after you joined to start Progressive.
Yeah.
And did that plant a seed in your mind?
Totally.
Right.
Totally. I think that's what I want to do.
Right.
And I think I was at the stage at 95, I'd become top biller. Then I run the most successful team. I was successful. And we would, I thought, right, I want something of my own. And Bill knew I've always ambitious. Yeah. I remember someone getting offered a job to start an office in Bristol, and I remember complaining to Bill, going, "How come he's got an opportunity to start Bristol? Why I should get an offer?" He goes, "Do you want to run Bristol?" No. So what are you complaining for? Yeah. Or someone would come in and go, Gary Goldsworth would come in and run contracts and do this. I said, "Well, it's not fair. Why are you doing that?" And Bill goes, "Have you got the experience of doing it?" I'm like, "No." He said, "Get in your box." Yeah. So when I got my opportunity, he said, "Right, I want to do my own thing," and I wanted to do it with a slight twist. Bill backed me, and Simon backed me and Russell, to be honest, they all backed me to start Huxley.
And at the time, like, what's the deal? Do you get a bit of, is it an equity split? Do they give you some cash, and sort of, how does that work?
Basically, you get equity. Yeah. And
because it wasn't a group structure at this point, it was loads of individual companies.
We're all competing.
I remember.
It was only Progressive that started, so I was the second company to start afterwards, and then Natasha started Pathway, and then I think who is it? Sean Water started Real.
Yeah.
So all Madison Black, they all came afterwards, right? So it was very much, it's my business. I'm the majority shareholder. Well, there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
Me, Bill, Simon, Russell, and me. 4 of us. I'm majority shareholder. That's your baby. We give you the infrastructure. We give you the support. You can grow it. You can bring people in.
Right.
But you've got to be self-sufficient after a while, right?
Okay.
And it was, to be honest, given their due, they left me to my own devices.
Right.
Because my slant on that was Futures, Progressive just did the same thing, IT.
Yeah.
I realised the banking market was different.
Yeah.
And it was more account management because of my experience may have been broken, right?
Yeah.
So think about it subconsciously, maybe that was it, right?
Yeah.
Going out, meeting people, account managers, resources. It was a sort of different mindset. So I wanted to do exactly what Futures and Progressive are doing here. And if I could do banking over there, it gives me something different. Mm-hmm. And so Huxley was spurned out of that. There was a lady called Eleanor Collins who worked with me at Future, left and joined a banking recruitment business. I tapped her up, brought her in and said, right, you run the banking, I run the commercial, and then Huxley, and that's how we started Huxley.
And so that was your first taste of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You were the boss. You were, I guess, were you still reporting to Bill, or were you?
No,
ultimately you owned the company, right?
Yeah, we just to be honest, you'd go in and he'll come round and look at your KPIs and say, Progressive are doing this. Look how many interviews they've got.
Yeah.
Why have you? So he'll do it just to spur us on.
Yeah.
But he knew we were all determined.
Yeah.
I think Bill just left you to your own devices really. So it wasn't micromanagement of any kind. It was just if you want to expand. I always wanted to expand quickly, right? I wanted to. I was the first to expand outside of Europe. So we went to New York and Hong Kong and Singapore, right? And I wanted to use the banking franchise to expand.
Yeah.
And but once I've proven the model works in the UK, then they say, well, why can't you do that in New York? Why can't you do that in Hong Kong? Why can't you do that in Frankfurt? Yeah. So that was my sort of route to market initially was banking.
You always had big ambitions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the biggest brand in S3, the most successful brand.
Where does that come from? You got siblings?
Yeah, but I've always been like that.
Yeah.
My brother's total opposite to me. Even every sport we played, I've always competitive. Even my mum says, like, always, any game we played, anything, always
wanted to win.
Yeah.
So you're making money, living a good life, enjoying it. What's limited only by, I guess, your own sense of vision and ambition? Companies growing like crazy. It becomes more of a group, right? Yeah. It starts to merge.
We became listed, didn't we? So
that was 2003 or 5.
Yeah.
So it becomes more of a corporate business. Bill steps down, Russell takes over, the business is changing. What's your recollections of that period? Did you get some payout when the company floated?
Yeah.
So you get,
but mine was very small at the time,
right?
Because it was whatever your proportion was
of the overall.
And I remember I was 6% of the whole.
Right.
And eventually I got to 30.
Right.
But I was 6% when they did the first payout. So I got a small amount in comparison, but
relative to the others. Okay.
That's life, right?
Yeah.
So it was the change was more around, and Russell it was the right thing to do, right? Is that we're all, they're doing well on banking, and then all the other brands, let's do banking.
Yeah.
They're doing well on public sector. Oh, let's all do public sector.
Yeah.
They're doing well on account. It was just, if you hear what everyone's doing,
chasing each other,
and it's like, why are we doing this? It's crazy. Yeah. So,
and were you part of the overall decision? Like, did you just run your little world, or did you have influence over the group strategy?
No, I ran my world for a while. For 10, 11 years,
right.
I was left to run Huxley and Augtel.
Yeah.
And Russell and Sunil. Russell was CEO, Sunil was COO. I think they realised they'd better have me in part of the team in the tent
rather than outside. You say keep your enemies close.
So they pulled me in.
Yeah.
Is it Kalito's way? They pulled me in, and and I became chief strategy officer.
Yeah.
So they wanted me to make sure we're not all chasing the same thing, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Huxley, you've got banking, you do IT, you do that, but banking's what you're going to be famous for.
Yeah.
Progressive, you're going to be famous in engineering.
Yeah.
Futures, your IT.
Yeah.
Progressive, life sciences. So it was really about making sure that you had a focus, and then you do the add-ons on the side, but effectively making sure we don't all just chase the same markets.
But is it not fair to say that there was a period of time where that collection of brands dominated the UK IT landscape?
No, the market was massive. We reckon we had about 8-9% market share.
That's all.
You look at the size of the market.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But was it even 20, 30 years ago? Was it still that big?
Maybe 20 years ago we might have had a bigger share, but I still think we maybe had 8% market share, which is still a lot, right?
Yeah. And so you got you've got this absolute like beast of a company, and then you go public. That changes a lot, I would imagine, about the culture.
It changed a lot, I think, for people like Russell and Sunil, because they were having to see investors.
Yeah.
Or Russell in particular, right?
Yeah.
He was going out to see investors and justifying what we're doing and quarterly figures and half-yearly figures and all that.
Yeah.
Give Russell his due. He just took that away from all of us.
Right.
We were still doing incentives to Vegas. We're still doing Christmas parties, giving away Rolexes and Porsches.
Aston Martins.
So as a listed company, you'd go, oh, but we still had that sales culture. Right? It's in our DNA. We knew that's why we were successful. And I think they've lost a bit of that now. Hence why I think that contributes to why they're struggling. But fundamentally, Russell basically made sure we carried on doing what we're doing as in the brands.
Yeah.
And took the politics out of it.
Yeah. But your recollection is nothing really changed on the floor, nothing day to day. It was still the same animal. And then
if anything, it's more powerful, right? Because we're able to give equity away
in a listed business.
So you had a value in your shares.
Yeah, and it felt real. Well,
it was real, right?
Yeah,
it was real. It was minority shareholding scheme. That's why you had so many offshoots of businesses. People moving to San Francisco and Japan, and they're all getting equity in their business, right?
Yeah.
So it was the same model that we had, that Bill introduced.
Yeah.
That was the thing that drove the growth in S3. All around the world.
Yeah. And so you go on to become the CEO.
Uh-huh.
Was that always part of the plan?
Never wanted to be CEO.
Go
on. Russell is better than me he's more intelligent than I am for a start. He's more articulate. He's going to love that. So Russell's strength was he's good with investors, he's good, and to me, I'm a salesperson.
Yeah.
So the idea of doing that didn't really appeal. I didn't want to go around and speak to investors and justify what we're doing. And you've got some grad sitting there questioning you, and he's never even bloody run a business before.
Yeah.
But it's part of the job. And I remember speaking to Clay, who was the CEO, and said, do it the way you want to do it. Every CEO is different.
Yeah.
Right. So if Alex, your CFO, can take do more on the numbers and you do more on this, then just get the balance right.
Yeah.
So I never tried to be like Russell.
Yeah.
So I just tried to keep the sales culture going, making sure, but understanding that we can't do anything. You've got to, you're answerable, right? You've got to hit your number. And just open your eyes about your numbers, because sometimes I look back now, I think we made decisions based on making sure shareholders were happy. But if I'd have played it right, I would have made different decisions and said, look, you're going to have to wait 2-3 years to get that.
Right.
But some shareholders don't want to wait 2-3 years. So it's that balancing act of short-term versus long-term strategy. And that's the thing that I struggled to get my head around initially.
But you got there?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I got there.
Looking back, I'm sure the answer is yes, but would you have done things differently?
The people that really benefit of being a listed company is the initial founders, right?
Yeah.
So Bill and Simon had their exit plan, really.
Yeah.
I'd rather not be part of a PLC, to be honest. I think to some degree, but you can't knock it, right? When you leave, you own a certain amount of shares, and you can cash in your shares.
Yeah.
Private companies, not that straightforward. So there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons.
You were, as I understand it, one of the few black CEOs or CEOs from a black and minority ethnic background. Is that an important part? Is that important to you? That, do you see yourself as a role model for other black men that might want to get on in that kind of way?
I've always, because of my dad, I remember someone saying to me the other day, "You're not even black." I said, "Okay, fair enough. Look, I'm half white as well, right?" But I said, "What colour is Barack Obama?" He's black. I said, "What colour is Bob Marley?" He's black. I said, "No, they're both mixed race. What are you on about?" So look, my dad always installed. I was fully, because I mentioned to you earlier about, we had the National Front where we live. Old Kent Road, there would be fights and racist slurs and everything. So I was surrounded by that. And majority of my friends from school were all black. We're all mainly from Jamaican backgrounds, right? So there was a link to that. I remember going to Sport England on an away game, and then the fans like doing monkey chants and things like that. And I was thinking, I don't feel comfortable here, right?
Yeah.
So I work with a charity called the Alito Foundation. We look kids from what are considered disadvantaged background, and they're typically from a council estate. Majority of them are ethnic minorities. And I want to be able to give back and help young people, mentor them through some of the challenges you get in society. And let's be honest, there's still institutional racism in this country, whether you like it or not. The data will show it. So it's something I feel strongly about. Yeah. But I never ever want to be seen, you're Donald Trump sort of, am I a token CEO, right? Did I get it because I hit the diversity quota? No, I know that's never the case, but I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I just want to make sure I can inspire people that I can relate to. Yeah.
You were awarded the OBE for, I think, services to diversity?
And obviously being a CEO to business as well, So it's a combination,
But I guess, it is important that, other young black men are able to look at and see people that look like them and say, well,
Do you know, again, this is another thing, right? You speak to, so Ken, who's the chairman of the charity, Sir Ken Elisa, OBE, I remember, because I'm not a royalist, right? I'm an anti-royalist, to be honest.
Right.
So for me to take it, I felt a bit of a hypocrite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
how did you find out you'd been nominated?
I just think got a letter through or something.
What, just randomly?
Yeah. Or someone told me, "Oh, you've been nominated," and I was like, "Okay." I don't know who nominated me actually, and I was saying to Ken, "I'm not sure if I'm comfortable taking this," and he goes, "Gary, the charity you're in, we're talking about creating role models for these young kids. You want them to be leaders of tomorrow, which is what our charity Alito Foundation is. Then that's going to be something that you can demonstrate what we can achieve." He said, "You'd be crazy not to take it." So I took it, but I don't really believe in the whole monarchy.
And is that connected to?
It's not equal, is it?
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But what I mean is, like, is there I don't know, I'm not massively well educated about the whole Windrush generation, but I guess that's part of your parents' kind of heritage, is being part of that, or...
Yeah, my dad came over to fight for England in the Second World War, and my dad was always conscious of the fact that he couldn't get a job at air traffic control after the war, and there were white colleagues that were below him were getting jobs.
Right.
So he tried to go back to Jamaica and then came back on the Windrush.
Right.
And so he was always about, look, whether you like it or not, life's not fair. You've got to work that much harder.
Yeah.
And you've got to have control of what you're doing, which is why he always encouraged me to go. That's why he wanted me to be a taxi driver. So when I used to work in insurance broker, I used to get on my moped sometimes and do my runs, right? Because he likes the fact that you're your own boss in a taxi.
Yeah, yeah.
And he always used to say the taxman never knows what you're really earning.
Yeah.
Well, right?
A lot of taxi drivers earning 42 grand a year. That's so I'm told. And do you know what? I always say this to people, right? Like, whatever the challenges of being self-employed are, and there are many, at least I know I can never get fired, right?
Yeah.
And that's and at the end of the day, I'm in charge of my own destiny no matter what, right? And I'm not going to wake up one day and get told that my job's been made redundant or whatever. Tell us about getting the OBE then. So you go to Buckingham Palace?
Yeah.
Do they lay it all on? Is it all laid on?
Yeah, it's a lot of people there. You line up. Prince William was there. I made him blush.
Inappropriate jokes.
I cracked a
Wouldn't
joke.
be like you,
I
mate.
cracked a joke about someone who was connected to his family.
Right.
Say no more.
Yeah.
And I remember my wife saying to me, "What did you say?" I goes, "Why?" He goes, "He went bright red." I said,
no.
"Oh, yeah." So that was. And people goes, "Oh, did you feel intimidated, or did you feel timid because it's Prince William?" I'm thinking, why?
Yeah,
What's he achieved?
yeah.
He's just born there, right? So, but yeah, it was,
Yeah.
my mum was there,
Yeah.
my wife and kids, and
Proud moment.
Proud moment, yeah.
So you're the CEO now of a listed business. The world's changing quickly. Technology is at the forefront of that. The business is scaling. Happy? Do you like the job?
I came back from America.
So you lived in New York?
I lived in New York for just
What
over
took
2
you
years.
to New York?
To help the expansion across the USA.
Okay.
So while I was there, we opened in Chicago, Boston, San Francisco, Houston, San Diego, Austin. Did I say yeah? So when I was there, we had New York only.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like, this market is massive. And I converted the business from being permanent focus in New York to more focus on contract. And we didn't do W-2 contractors back then.
Yeah.
We were doing corp to corp.
Okay.
And I remember saying, look, the 90% of the contract market in America is W-2. We need to do it. We need to do the payroll. We need to do this, do that. And everyone's like, oh, we don't need to get in that side of the market. We have to be in this side of the market. And then from being 3% of the business GP of the S3, it got to 25%. So I saw the US as that's why I went out there thinking, and when I was out, I was like, oh my God, why didn't I come here earlier?
Yeah, yeah. Did you like it?
I loved it.
What, just life as well?
I loved it. I loved New York. My daughter was born there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Elsa was born there, 9/11/11. She's got an American passport as well. And I loved it. I loved New York. I went to America being very anti-American, because when you go on holiday, they're so loud and obnoxious and that. But you get there, and they generally they just talk, and they're friendly and they're open, and And I remember Morgan Kavanagh, who was the first one there, used to say to me, when you get out here, you're going to see a different side of it. And he's right. We met some amazing people.
Yeah.
The right attitude, right mindset. It was great.
Did you live in Manhattan?
Yeah, Upper West Side in a brownstone house. It was lovely, lovely.
Yeah. It's not a city I know particularly well, but every time I go there, it's just wild.
My favourite part of the whole of the US is Austin, though.
Yes, people say that.
It's just it gives me it's like the vibe of Ibiza, right? You get there and you land in the airport and there's music playing.
Yeah.
You go into a bar and there's a rooftop with music playing.
Yeah.
It's got young people. Not that I'm young anymore, right?
Yeah.
But it's just got a good vibe. And I was a vegan for a while, right?
Right.
And you go to America and in Austin, you've got all these vegan places and stuff like that. It's just, to me, I thought it was really cool, safe, liberal. I know it's part of Texas, but it's one of the places. We had friends that had a place on the lake there, and you'd go out on the boat, and your kids are, skiing, and it's just beautiful. I loved it.
Did your family go willingly? Were they game?
Yeah, Vicky was happy to.
Yeah. And what brought you home?
CEO.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Look, I felt that. America, I think, was a critical part of it. I think Clay said to me, would you consider taking over from Russell? I said I wasn't sure entirely about it, but he basically said, look, we think it's the right thing for you. And I took it on, and I thought, right, this is something. Do
you think your stock rose by virtue of what you did in the USA? Do you think that was a sign to the board that you were more capable of things?
I think my stock was good from what I did with Huxley, to be honest. And then remember, chief strategist, so we were the first to diversify out of IT, out of everyone. I was first to do that. So not just banking, we were the first to we went into engineering.
Up north,
We did accountancy, but did it really badly. So we're not always a success. There's a lot of failings on the way. But I think I demonstrated through the move from perm to contract in America, the strategy around contracts as well.
Yeah.
And Huxley being one of the most profitable brands.
Yeah.
So my stock, it helped my stock, but I always felt Sonal didn't want the job.
Right.
And I thought I was the only one on the board. I'm on the board as well. So I think if it wasn't me, who else was it going to be?
So you come back from New York, you back to the UK, you take over as CEO. Then what? And is it a mandate for change, or is it a mandate for more of the same?
I thought, you learn as you do, right? My first thing I did, right, I'm going to put a strategy together. We're going to be client focused. We're going to put emphasis on clients, repeat business based on my banking experience. Are we all behind this, guys? Yeah, yeah. Nothing changed.
Right.
The KPIs didn't change. So you would have to sort of wheel back and go, right, where did I go wrong? And you know what? I brought in an external company, which I was always reluctant to do, an external consultancy, and said, look, try to roll out the strategy before. Vision, values, purpose, never really worked. Help me. And they put a structure, they gave me some ideas, and we all worked as a collective team. It wasn't my strategy anymore. It was our strategy.
Yeah.
Not me, we, right?
Yeah.
Famous poem by Muhammad Ali, me, we. And it was all about making sure everybody in a room, and we had post-it notes on what we don't like. I remember sitting in a room going, what don't we like about the business? It was, and what do we like? I'm sitting there fuming thinking, the fuck are you working here then? If there's so many things you don't like. So it was quite therapeutic in some sense. It's like it just, all of us realizing, Jesus. I remember sitting in a room and we were talking about honesty being one of our values. And we debated whether or not we could have it because we lie to our candidates sometimes and we do this and we do that. And I'm like, that doesn't mean it's right. Yeah, let's change that. You know? And it was good. And look, to be honest, I think the strategy we rolled out, they're still using it now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what's your values? What's your purpose? What's your vision? So I think it was one of the best things we ever did.
Yeah.
And it just put everyone clear about what roles and responsibility were. We changed the structure in the business. So, and the flip to contract was I suppose the most significant change I had. We went from 60% perm to what we now 85% contract. And by the time I left, I think it was 75-25 contract.
And the significance of that is what? The visibility on forward revenue, so you can see what's coming down the line. You can take bigger bets on that basis.
Lifetime value of a contractor's more.
Yeah.
Right. So if average contractor runs for 40 weeks on £700 weekly GP.
It's twice the average perm fee, obviously.
And if anyone leaves, the contractors stay.
Yeah, yeah.
So 20% of our contract books are what we call orphans, right?
Yeah.
So the
no
whole
commission.
It's better in a downturn. In a downturn, when the market contract book drops off, it flows off cash.
Yeah.
So all the reasons why you look at all the American recruitment businesses, they're 90% contract, 10% perm for a reason.
Yeah.
So to me, the maths, the visibility, the resilience, the profits we're making out of contracts was, I reckon, if S3 were making 50 million, I would say 40 million of that would have been contracts.
Of the EBIT.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So everything to me, and because we're working in a STEM market, it's project based as well, right?
Yeah.
These are seasoned contractors. Sometimes in the accountancy market, they're covering someone on maternity leave, right?
Yeah,
Interim. These are seasoned contractors. So to me, it was, I think it was the right thing to do, and I'll stick by that now.
So you're the CEO. Yeah. You're at the peak of your powers. You've got a good life. You're married with 2 children. You're living back in the UK.
3 children.
3 children. Sorry, 3 children. You get to a point in your career where, what is the? Are you thinking about the next chapter of your life at this stage? You can't be the CEO forever. So
do you know what it is? I think I made some mistakes as well. Obviously, a lot of mistakes. Luckily, I made some good decisions more than some of the mistakes. But I was trying to get involved in AI back in 2019, right? Automating CVs and using technology, and
is that because you've seen that as the future? And you
I thought automation would be important, and CVs come in and it can be done automatically, matching clients can do it on their, all those sort of things. Even we had a partner that was doing all the AI for us back then, and then I realised I don't know what I'm talking about in that world. And I get the wall pulled over my eyes by these techies and all the problems that happen. And you sit there going, I remember just thinking, maybe this is wrong. And also the stuff I wanted to do, the board didn't, you could see the board went behind it.
Right.
So to me, it was exciting and something different.
Yeah.
I wanted to be stimulated.
Yeah.
And so to me, leaving at the time I did was the right thing to do, because I just didn't feel... Most of my people that I liked at work, who worked there, had gone.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're like...
Feel lonely?
Yeah.
Well, look, they say it's lonely at the top, right?
It is a lonely job. And after a while, I think my daughters were at an age where we needed them to go to secondary. We were living in Chelsea. We want him to go to a school where it got open space and play around. So it was a good time to move out of London, nice schools, and put your energies into other things, right?
Yeah. And so you're still a young man, you're healthy, fit, you got young children.
You're not about young.
Well, young, you look young, mate.
Yeah, I'm not young.
But what I'm saying is you're too young to just retire and play, or maybe not, I don't know. So you leave. Have you got like energy for, like you wouldn't take another SEO job somewhere else?
No.
That was never on the agenda, no?
No.
Never even thought about it?
No. So I got drawn into, I had a part in the crypto world. I was thinking, all right, platforms, own the casino, people use your platform, and then you realize again, right? You go into a world where you're the trainee.
Yeah.
And people say, that world is mad, right? So, we have platforms out there. We're trying to do deals with OKX, who are sponsoring Man City, FTX. We trying to deal with, and they go under. So this stuff. I'm trying to show my entrepreneurial side of things, and you sometimes, I suppose, you step back sometimes and go, geez, I put a lot of energies into things like that, and just because I'm good at recruitment. I'm going to be good at that.
Yeah.
And what's the terminology, Bill? You say, are we a one
trick pony? Well, mate, as long as it's a good trick, mate, it's okay, isn't it?
Totally agree.
There's loads of evidence there that you've got this pretty high appetite for risk.
Yeah.
But yet you stayed in essentially one company for the majority of your career.
Do you know what?
How do those two things...
It's a good point. Do you know what it is? It's a good question, actually, but I think I do like a bit of loyalty. Bill and Simon, by right, should have sacked me many a time, right? Especially when I was running bloody take. Someone told me they're running a takeaway on the side. I'd have sacked him, right? And they stood by me.
Yeah.
And then when I said, right, I want to run my own business, they backed me. And when I said I want to do this, they backed me.
Yeah.
And when I used to go to Russell, let's do this, he backed me.
Yeah.
So when you're in an environment like that, you've got the best of both worlds, right? You've got security, you've got that freedom within a framework.
Yeah.
It's the terminology we use, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got your mates.
Mm.
So, it's an amazing job,
What's not
right?
to love?
What's that? Exactly,
Yeah.
right? And then look, some of the people that went and started their own businesses and then sold it, and you know what, I've got the utmost respect for them, right? To do that, because I understand how difficult that is. But I had the best of both. I felt I had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And I loved the company. I loved the people. It's when you start falling out of love with the people, is you need to get out.
That's it.
When you're working with a board that you don't necessarily agree with,
or enjoy working
with, you need to get out, right? So to me, it was the right time.
Yeah.
But I still, you still got an itch.
Yeah.
And I thought about starting a recruitment business. I thought, I haven't got the energy.
Yeah.
I can't.
You've done that, right?
Yeah, but it's just and it's hard. It's hard work. Bear in mind, COVID. As soon as I left, we're like, look, it's COVID, right? The timing was couldn't have planned it any better, right? And COVID was a big factor, and I'm glad I wasn't in the business when COVID was around, right? And I'm glad, if I look at how recruitment business have changed because of COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have difficulty in.
Well, I think it would have been anathema to everything that you were raised on. This whole, and look, I think it wasn't just a recruit. It was a sort of cultural thing about, a generational thing that I think actually is kind of gone again. People, this desire for flexible working, remote working, and you need, it all got a bit out of control.
If I look at the business, look, and again, I get it. If you're older and you need to pick your kids up and have that flexibility, I'm all for that. But if you're a grad, if you take a lot of grads coming in, how are they going to learn if they're spending 30% of their time at home? And you used to look at activity levels, right? When people work from home, you're like, it drops off considerably. I play golf with people that are supposedly working from home, right?
I hope they're not listening. I hope their bosses aren't listening. Don't play golf with Gary. You're in trouble.
So to me, that if I look at some of them XS3 recruitment businesses, they're actually more rigid than S3, where they're like, still come in, still every day of the week, you still wear this, you still do that. But you know what? I look at the sales figures and you go,
mate, I can tell you now, I have the luxury of visiting lots and lots of recruitment businesses. The minute I walk through the door, I can tell how well they're doing. The energy, the noise, There's one in business in particular who I shan't name. They're all in suits. They're standing up. They're on the phone at 9:01. Mate,
I know the
everyone
company,
in there, everyone in there is as happy as any recruitment I've ever seen. Right, so it's nonsense that's what people don't know what they want. So what people want, mate, they want to make money.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
and they, and you make that by having a high performance culture. And I see it all the time. And then you feel the exact opposite as well. You go in a place like a library, and it's like, yeah, but it's different around here. Our clients are different. Our candidates are different. I'm like, mate, spare me. I've literally heard it all. So let's talk about the latest season of Gary Eldon, your portfolio, roving chairman, NED, advisor, investor, all of those things. What gets you out of bed in the morning today?
It's a good question, actually. I think because you're advising I love the challenges of different types of businesses. So I've got a business that's the 200-man business that I'm an advisor to. There's a tech startup that I'm an advisor to. So I just like to be stimulated, and I love. Do you know what? It's the people element of the business you like.
Yeah.
I've backed businesses based on the people, but the people have not performed, right?
Yeah.
So as much as some are successful, I've done a lot of I've always been a soft touch for people, and it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because you then get let down, or people don't deliver, or so to me. But what gets me up now is that I have the freedom to spend time with my kids, drop them to school. I've got freedom to go and play golf, and I've got freedom to set my day out with the advisory type work, and then I'm working on a project at the moment that may succeed, may not, but at least I've got the opportunity to get involved in it.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of. I still look at how technology is changing, how the world is moving. AI agents everywhere, and everyone's overused word, but the world is changing.
Yeah.
And I think even when you started Interview back in the day, right? It was this. We had the same sort of idea, right? This is what you need to do, interviewing, and next minute everyone else can able to do similar thing, and then so sometimes you can have the best ideas. The challenge you have is it the timing? Is the timing right? And can you implement the ideas?
Yeah.
And so to me, I like the variation that I've got at the moment.
Yeah.
So a bit of recruitment, a bit of tech, and you're doing a lot of sort of startup, working with AI partners. So to me, it gives me a balance, but I don't feel I've got to be in every single day.
Yeah.
And I love that sort of freedom.
Yeah. Do you miss like being on the hook?
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what I mean? Like living it.
I do. I do sometimes. I must admit. There's only so much golf you can play.
Yeah, yeah.
And most people you want to play golf with, they've got jobs.
Yeah.
So it's not as if I know I've got dads from schools and things like that, but they've all got day jobs still, right?
Yeah.
So there's only so much golf you can play. I do miss the buzz of an office. The banter.
Yeah.
I miss the bants.
Yeah.
A Zoom call is not the same bants, is it?
It's not.
So I do miss the bants, right?
Yeah.
And if you're sitting in a boardroom and you're having a chat, it's great. And speaking to investors, great. But the bants I miss. I miss the sales bants.
Yeah. And it's like it's the off the cuff stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and obviously you've got an interesting portfolio, big and small, recruitment and tech and all sorts of other things. Is there any common threads that you see today? If I'm some of our listeners or most of our listeners are recruitment company owners, CEOs, MDs, that kind of community, they're looking often at their own business, and that's the only vision or the only view of the world they've got. So someone like you've got a broader view. What are you seeing? I dare say, are we seeing some signs of an economic recovery out there? Is it still patchy?
To be honest, my world is very much still STEM based. So if you're a blue collar recruiter, I'm not seeing as much in that world. But what I am seeing because I was involved in a CRM company, so you get a chance to talk to, like yourself, right? You can see other recruitment businesses. So what I'm seeing is that the UK market is particularly tough, as we all know. It's always been a tough market. You think about 30,000 recruitment companies in the UK, right?
Yeah.
I think 75% of them are less than 5 people. So it's a very fragmented market, but it's a tough market. Average margins tend to be 19, 20%. But I know businesses that are doing AI in the UK as a market and try to do it in the US and got more success at the UK. But if I look at the UK, or if you work in public sector in the UK, it's a good market, right? So we know there's pockets, but when you look at the UK market as a whole, I think it's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
Where I've seen success is UK-based businesses working international markets.
Yeah.
So Germany was always one of the growth markets because it's the biggest economy in Europe. They build and make things. Lot of medium-sized SME businesses out there. They're a service-orientated company. They pay you the money for good service, high fees, high salaries, skill shortage. So Germany, I've seen a lot of success come out of Germany. They had their first, one of the toughest markets in the last year they've known. So now they're like, oh my God, we've got to make maybe 50% of the calls that UK make.
Yeah.
And they still think, oh, that's too much, right?
Yeah,
So Germany has always been a massive growth market from what I'm seeing around the bit. And the obvious one is the US.
Yeah.
You look at now, amount of I've never seen so many $1 million or £1 million billers. Back in the day in S3, I think we had maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But you're getting people billing, there's people billing 8-9 million.
Wow.
On contracts, right?
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Just what? Contracts on big projects, getting 50 runners out on the same project.
So, and there's some people I know people billing on permanent 1.2, 1.3 million on permanent.
That's crazy, isn't it?
80 grand average fees, right?
Yeah.
30% margins. And you saw the company recently sold that are based out of Nottingham doing the US market, right?
Yeah.
So I'm seeing whether it's IT, life sciences, engineering, renewables, the US is a market that, because most of the bigger US recruitment businesses are contract driven, you've got a lot of these sort of small UK going out there going, I can do permanent here, get a 40, 50k fee, I'm getting 15k in the UK for the same bloody job. Why don't I put my energies here?
Of course.
So you've got a lot of UK based businesses working the American market.
From the UK. And you see that work? They can make that work? Yeah.
And if anything, I've got some businesses that I'm seeing, they're getting better yields out of their UK team than they are at their American team.
Because what's his attitude?
Yeah, it's UK mentality, right?
Yeah.
This is tough.
They're used to the grind.
Come on, I used to bring people from the UK and send them to America, and you'd get maybe 2.5 times better return.
Just straight out the gate.
I know there's one guy, I won't name him, but he was doing in Birmingham maybe 150 grand a year. By the time he left S3, he was doing just under $1 million.
Wow.
He would never been able to do that in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
maybe nobody could though, huh? That's the thing.
That's the thing, right? So there are pockets of it, but then, we also know that, Japan is a very high value, high margin business because it's hard to find the skills, but you've only got access to a certain part of the Japanese market, right?
Yeah.
It's the international market. So there are pockets, but if you look at Hayes' performance recently, Hayes, all their profits mainly came out of Germany, really, and Australia, right?
Yeah.
So S3 is Germany, Australia. All these startups that I'm seeing, they're doing Germany and America, sorry. So you're seeing a success in those areas. They're the obvious ones to me. And obviously work in markets where it's difficult to find candidates. I think the key to success for me has always been, what's your specialism? What's your niche?
Yeah.
What have you got? You need to offer candidates difficult to find. And finding candidates, you want passive candidates that no one else has got, right?
Yeah.
Which is why people are doing different things through social media now. And you don't want to be reliant on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You don't want to be reliant on job boards. You want to be, that's why data, everyone talks about how do I get my data and enrich my data.
Yeah.
Right? All these data enrichment companies, right? They're all talking about getting candidates before LinkedIn, before job boards. So that's what you can do that. If you're a specialist in that market, you'll get a referral, you get recommendation, you get references.
Yeah.
So you just get the most out of it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's quite a tactical question. But what do you see when I'm in a candidate short market? Am I working the candidate or am I working the job? You know what I mean? Is that, I know it's maybe a bit granular, but the question I get asked a lot is, people want to move into these high value markets, right? They're hearing about, such and such is getting 200 grand average fee and I don't know, they're working AI on the East Coast. And they're like, how do we do it? And I'm like, I don't know. Don't ask me. How do they do it?
So it depends, right? So you generally, where I've seen successes, and only based on my experience, is you build up your candidate pool. You take references on your candidate pool.
Yeah.
You get referrals on your candidate pool, and you work from the candidate. And the candidate opens doors. It's a door opener, right? People still talk about all the marketing and do this and do that. A quality candidate that's hard to get hold of.
Still the way.
Still works.
Yeah.
You know, one company, we still talk about jobs and multiple interviews, candidates multiple interviews, right? One of the most, you know, Amora Bonds, successful business.
Yeah.
JMIs, CMIs.
CMIs. Yeah.
And how many meetings? How many send outs? You know, so a lot of these, and that business has been growing even through the downturn, right? So where I've seen these sales culture, like the one you mentioned about when they still stand up on the phone, doing your 2 hours in a day, you work around a candidate, build up your candidate, and then once you start building that, then I think you start thinking about a client-facing person, right? So if you're working from the UK and you've got someone in America, you want them door knocking, going out, meeting.
Yeah.
You want them on 30, 40 meetings. You look at the model in America, right? All the successful recruitment companies, the big ones, right? Successful. Most of them have a split desk.
Right.
Yeah. So they say, you find the candidates, but the client person, they're going on 40 meetings, right?
Yeah.
A 360 consultant's going on 8 meetings, 10 meetings, right?
Yeah.
So once you know your market, then you've got to build it from somewhere. So I think it has its purpose.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're going to, how do you penetrate it? So I would always start with the candidate first.
Yeah. Because I think that's, and I'm conscious that we're coming to there, but I think that's probably if I think about the UK centric customers that I work with, they're seeing all of this Hollywood stuff happening out west, and they're like, oh my God, such and such is doing the US from the UK. How do we do it? And often what they're really looking for is tactics on how to start. And I was like, well, if I was starting it today, I would just get right back to basics, mate. I'd be working a candidate out. I'd be working leads and references.
But look how easy it's to get how easy it is to get all the data now as well.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lot easier than before. But you need to you've got to build relationships.
Yeah.
Right? You want those candidates to recommend you.
Yeah, advocate for
you, right? Yeah. So on the permanent side, obviously, what I'm seeing a lot now as well is people going, right, if you're going to work with me, I want commitment.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to retain me, or you're going to put me on exclusive. Otherwise, I'm not working.
Yeah.
So where some businesses were 30% retainers, they flipped it now 70%.
Yeah.
Then they're saying, right, unless you get an exclusive or a retainer, don't work it.
Yeah, don't bother. It's in the end, it's just.
You've got to be brave to do that, right?
Yeah. It takes balls and a bank balance, right? But if you can do it, then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it feels a neat opportunity to look to the future. What's next?
Look, I've got this bugbear, and it's something that's been. I've had this idea for a number of years. I think the way training is done currently, I think it's dated.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a one-stop solution. So I believe, I've mentioned this before on another podcast about being inspired by Blinkist. Mm-hmm. Blinkist gives you a story of a book in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think training, with the way the younger generation are taking on detail, I think there's an opportunity to do that for training. So you can do a video that's no more than 5-10 minutes on how to close a candidate, how to sell a candidate, and use an AI to do it. So I built a business called Vidmology where I'm testing at the moment. And then not only that, if you're not a visual person, I want to listen to an AI podcast, interviewing Gary Elden about how do you start your business.
Yeah.
So you can listen to that. And then if you don't like that, there's a bot you can call.
Yeah.
I can call the bot and how to do coaching and to train. So we know we're seeing this, right? We're seeing how technology changes. So if I could give you a solution where you got a video, audio, and a bot, that should be able to give you the basic training you need to do the job. It's not going to replace managers and trainers, but if you're at home and you're thinking, how do I close a candidate? You've got 3 ways of finding out. Watch a video, listen to a podcast, or call.
Oh, yeah.
So my view, so that's something I've been passionate about. I've had problems with technology, finding out, again, same old story. Maybe it's me. It's making sure the technology is where it needs to be. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. So hopefully that will go live soon. But yeah.
And that's Vidmology.
Yeah.
And that's your thing? Mm-hmm. And you're passionate about that?
Yeah, I actually, it's something I think, if I look at the way we do things at the moment, I think we just got to adapt to the world, right? How the world's changing. And I think I want to have the flexibility of when to be trained. Yeah. And I don't want to listen to the same person as well.
Yeah.
or the same group of people.
Yeah.
So my idea initially was to use people. Then I thought, now if the avatars get better, you're not even going to tell whether it's human or not in the future. At the moment you can tell, but it's the content, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're interested in, the content. So in my time at S3, all the contractor playbooks and how to drive a perm and how to start a market, if I put that into the brain, then hopefully what I know I can share with small recruitment businesses. They can do it, or I can go into a enterprise company and say, why don't we clone all your top billers and we create your own bot? Give me all your training and I'll put it into bite-sized training. Give me all your material, I'll create podcasts for you. And the idea is that I can give you your own white label as well. So that would be the next phase. So I want to start with the smaller recruiters. You don't need a big training department. Pay your subscription, get access to this, and then the idea is then go to enterprise and say, right, white label it.
Sounds exciting.
Something to do, right?
Well, exactly. And it's like you say, I think there's an opportunity for it. And I think it's about how do we deploy, how do we leverage AI in every component of the space. And I think
the recruitment world is changing fastly, right? Let's be honest, right? If you think about I was speaking to someone recently about sort of the levels of redundancies that are going in these big companies, right? And I'm seeing technology, I'm sure you're seeing it as well, because your business does that, right? Is how you can source candidates and get prompts and give, all these things that your manager would have to do before. You can still have a manager going in and saying, but at least they've got a structure to look through and said, right, I've noticed you've only scored this and this. All right, let's work on that together. While before, the manager would have to sit in on every call, listen to the call. You can get a transcript to tell you that now, right?
But I think for me, to the point about Vidmology, I think what is super clear is that you had this in the olden days, and I'll use that phrase advisedly. When I started out, you had the physical proximity to to top billers, and you could literally hear them saying stuff and doing stuff and saying things. And that would inspire you and motivate you, and whether it was conscious or subconscious, you would learn from them. And I think if you wind the movie forward to today, you're lucky if you're in the office 3 days a week. Your top biller is probably the guy that only does 1 day a week or 2 day a week. So actually the only other people you're surrounded by are the other juniors that have just started. And the amount of times, because when with my interview hat on, a lot of what we talk about is how we can institutionalize your memory. And we're saying, have you got a playbook? Is there ways of working that are documented? And the amount of time where it's like, not really. It's basically like just come in and learn the way. And I think, look, we had a pretty structured onboarding back in the day, but really the real learning curve was really when you were just on the job and you learned on the job by those around you. And I think what's clear now is exactly as you've said, the absence or the change there, which is remote working, which let's be honest is probably here to stay. And I think that's where most companies are suffering. They can't get that movement, that energy going, that transmission of knowledge that happens either by osmosis or whatever is not happening. And then you need another way then to say, well, how the fuck are we going to get this information out of his head and into his head if they're not in the same room?
But even think about it, right? Half the time you don't know why a top biller is a top biller.
And they can't tell you.
They can't tell you. And it's now if you listen to their transcripts or what they're sending out, and all of a sudden you go, I know why you're a top biller. Now, so you put some science to it now, right?
Exactly.
So the world, I think, is changing and evolving very, very quickly. But we've got to embrace the change, right?
100%.
We can't.
And I think the opportunity is insane.
Yeah, it is.
But if you look at the opportunity we've got now with the ability to use technology that's emerging, including my own, of course, but other companies are there as well. But it is exciting and what's possible, but it's about embracing it. Thanks for coming on the show.
No worries.
It's been a real pleasure. I know you're a busy man. You're in demand guy, so I'm really grateful. Gary, Elden, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Andy. Good to see you again.
Same. Before we wrap up, a quick thank you to the team behind this episode. This episode was proudly produced by Vertical Drop. At Vertical Drop, we help founders, leaders, and businesses turn conversations into content that builds authority, creates opportunities, and drives growth. From podcast strategy and production to social content, guest management and distribution, We handle everything required to help great voices reach the audiences that matter most. If you're thinking about launching a podcast, elevating an existing show, or building a stronger personal or company brand through content, then we'd love to help. Visit vertical-drop.com to learn more. That's vertical-drop.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.